Good evening, guys. Hi, it's Rob back for another video. Yeah, this is just a vinyl finds video for stuff that I picked up probably 3 weeks ago now. But before I went on my last holiday, but didn't get around to uploading for various reasons. Yeah, just thought I'd show those and bring it up to date. So yeah, just go through these quite quickly. Been on a real Van Morrison hit recently, and filling in a few gaps, quite a few large gaps in the Van Morrison collection. This is the wonderful Veedon Fleece from 1974. Picked up a nice 70s reissue of this on that Warner Brothers label. Yeah, this was actually there's a sort of inner from the bag that came with it. Oh, there you go. This one for Shannon there, showing Joni Mitchell and Don Juan's Reckless Daughter. Yeah, it's I mean, this is a later 70s press, yeah, I rather foolishly this came with the shrink wrap still on it. And on this edge here, it was, you know, when you get it and it's still on, but then it's kind of still slightly stuck to the edge, and it's sort of gone yellowed, so almost like kind of, I don't know, caramelizes. It's really weird. So me and my wisdom decided I was gonna just remove it once and for all and kind of rip all this at the back. Yeah, not the best. So I ain't going to be doing that again in a hurry. But there you go. But as Naz Nomad once said, you don't play the cover. So there you go. Well, obviously he wouldn't have said it like that because he's Canadian. But there you go. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So another classic. This was actually the first album I ever had by Van Morrison, which I bought back in the day on CD in the early 90s, because obviously sort of everybody was buying CDs then, weren't they? Vinyl wasn't kind of vogue particularly. Yeah, strange, isn't it, how things change. But anyway, this is a sort of later pressing of Astral Weeks. Love this record. This is Van at his mystical best. You got the opening track, just superb. Lay Me Down, In Silence Easy to Be Born Again. Fantastic stuff. And then obviously Sweet Thing, that the Waterboys did a splendid version of on Fisherman's Blues. Yeah, wonderful. The sprawling Madame George on side 2. Yeah, just a wonderful album, and by all accounts recorded live pretty much in the studio with virtually no overdubs at all. So yeah, wonderful record. Okay, and then still sticking with Van, his 1973, picked up a copy of his 1973 album Hard Nosed the Highway. Lyrics on the gatefold there. Yeah, I always, bugs me the way when in gatefolds that you've got like the lyrics and then there's like no picture, just like a blank space. Why they didn't do some artwork or something there, I don't know, God knows. But then of course you've got the wonderful sticker there, hype sticker. Save £1.50, now only £3.50. Well, terrific. And you've just ruined the cover of the bloody album. So yeah, I'll be steaming that off at some stage. Okay. Yeah, and continuing with my to add to my Harry Nilsson collection, delighted always to find any 60s Harry. And this is his second album, I believe. This is Aerial Ballet. This is a stereo. I don't know whether it's a first press. Looks pretty early, but sort of laminated cover. On RCA Victor. Yeah, and what a great record this is. Yeah, just superb songwriting, wonderful voice, just effortless, you know. And there's a write-up on the back here from Derek Taylor, of Beatles fame, of course, and he says that Nilsson is the best contemporary soloist in the world. He is it. He is the something else the Beatles are. He is the one. That's it. That's it. Enough. Yeah, well, I wouldn't argue with that, to be honest. But yeah, this is obviously, I guess, arguably this is where his career started to take off. You sort of got the big hit on side 2 here, Everybody's Talking. Wonderful Fred Neil song that was, of course, in the film Midnight Cowboy. So yeah, delighted to pick that one up. Okay, next one. I absolutely love this band. And their original albums, which I think were all on different labels, are just rare as hen's teeth. Never see them. I've seen 1 or 2 shown over the years I've been watching the VC, but never seen any in the wild. And this is a compilation by the wonderful English progressive folk band Dando Shaft. Yeah, I absolutely love this group. Absolutely fantastic. They did 3 studio albums in the first phase of the band. The band did reform later in the 2000s, I believe. But they did 3 albums. First one was called An Evening with Dando Shaft from, I think, 1969. And then the wonderful self-titled Dando Shaft on Neon, the very rare Neon label, which is superb, and that's the first album I heard of theirs. And then I later found out they did a 3rd album called Lantaloon. It's apparently the rarest of the lot. So, yeah. But this is a compilation of, I think, those latter 2 albums. And this was released in, when did this come out? 1990. And this is on C for Miles Records. And it's just sublime. Acid in places, yeah. Progressive, definitely. But also you can hear they're heavily rooted in sort of traditional as well. But it's just that the tracks are just all over the place in style. There's some female vocal, others have, I think the 2 guys sing, the principal guitar players. And the guy who plays the mandolin in this band, I can't recall his name, but he's just one of the most genius musicians I've ever heard. I mean, I attempt to play the guitar, and I have bought a mandolin. Anybody who's tried to play a mandolin will tell you that they are very, very difficult to play. You've got a really small, thin neck, and obviously tuned very differently to a regular guitar. Yeah, they're difficult to play, even just to get half a dozen chords. but the way that it's performed on this record is breathtaking. So heartily recommend that if you're into classic progressive English folk. Okay, sticking with progressive English folk, one of my favourite all-time artists, and this is a reissue and repackaging of his debut album, The Sophisticated Beggar. This is Roy Harper, and this is the return of The Sophisticated Beggar. This actually really threw me out the first time I saw this, because I thought maybe that this was this had like extra tracks or was re-recorded even, but it turns out that it is actually just a reissue of his debut album from 1966, I believe, which yeah, and this was 73 reissue, I think, on Birth label. So yeah, but it's a kind of reissue of a reissue, if you know what I mean. But yeah, just superb. I mean, anybody who's not familiar with Roy Harper, maybe some of the people in the States may not be, but certainly in the US and Britain, he's in the UK, he's a real kind of legend. Still playing today, but by all accounts, he's I think this, or certainly last year when he was touring, was deemed to be his last year of touring. So, but I have seen him several times in concert, and it is an experience going to see him. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Okay, quite a common one, this one. I had it on tape back in the day from my mate because I absolutely loved it. This is I don't think it's an original pressing, but it's certainly an early pressing. This is a compilation album from Jefferson Airplane called The Worst of Jefferson Airplane. Yeah, I've seen reissues of this, but I wanted to hang out for this lovely textured cover one. Yeah, superb with that kind of gold leaf motif and the plane there. But yeah, I mean, I just love the track listing on this. It's No Secret, Somebody to Love, White Rabbit, of course, Epic, Embryonic Journey, lovely little acoustic instrumental there, Crown of Creation, and of course ending with the fantastic Good Shepherd, We Can Be Together, and Volunteers from Volunteers. So yeah, wonderful stuff. Glad to pick a copy of that up. Okay, next one, go back to classic 60s folk. Delighted to pick this up. This is another artist I absolutely love. This is Bert Jansch, and this is a reissue, a very nice 50th anniversary reissue of his debut album. I've got his second album, the original of that, and I've also got his fourth album, which is what's it called again? Nicola, from 1967. I don't have Jack Orion. That's the one I'm missing from his really early career. And then I have Birthday Blues, which is probably my favourite. But this is superb. I bought the reissue because I just never see this album in the wild, originals of it. I'm sure they're around. They're not. I wouldn't think they're particularly rare, but very nice that they reproduced the original Transatlantic label though. Lovely heavyweight vinyl, so shouldn't have any warping issues. But yeah, I mean, just a seminal album this is. strolling down the highway, you know, and then you've got obviously Needle of Death, which is just heart-wrenchingly beautiful song. Once you've heard that, you never forget it. Casbah, Dreams of Love, Angie. There's not a bad track on this. It's just superb. He's wonderful playing, and of course Bert Jansch went on to perform with Pentangle, who are superb as well. Okay, this was a little bit disappointing. This is a later album by Duncan Brown, and Duncan Brown was a fantastic session musician from the late 60s, who started in the late 60s. And his debut album, Intermediate, is extremely rare, but wonderful example of kind of UK sort of Baroque pop, orchestrated. And I don't have a copy. I would love to have a copy of that. I believe it has been reissued, but I did pick up his second album though, which is quite hard to get hold of, which was on RAK, simply self-titled, which is wonderful. And this is from 1979, and this is Streets of Fire. I hadn't heard this, so it was a bit of a blind buy, just because I heard his first two albums and they were fantastic. It's on this Logo label. Yeah, I mean it's okay, but he's not playing his classical on this classical guitar. It's more kind of electric and more band orientated, so it's kind of lost a little bit of that kind of sort of acoustic charm that I guess his first two albums had. But he was obviously going for a more kind of commercial angle, I guess. You know, I suppose you can't blame him for that. But yeah, I think need to give it a few more listens anyway to see if it can get under my skin. And the last one is just a real, not a grail exactly, but it's one that I've been looking for a long time, and a lot of people have shown this in the VC over the years. But it's a fabulous album, and this is a lovely UK mono copy of the Bee Gees' debut album. Yeah, this is just wonderful. Just fantastic kind of psych-tinged pop. There's just not a bad song on this. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this, and I know quite a few of you own it. But I've been looking out for a copy for a number of years now. Yeah, Turn of the Century, fabulous. Every Christian Lionhearted Man Will Show You, wonderful. Love the harmonies on that. Obviously the first single, New York Mining Disaster, which I knew. Obviously To Love Somebody was another hit. Yeah, it's just superb from beginning to end, and in lovely condition on the Polydor label. Yeah, so really delighted to finally pick a copy of that up. So that's it, guys. That's it. I'm managed to get up to date with my finds. Yeah, hope you're all doing well. There's some interesting threads going around at the moment, so I'm sort of jumping on those. Yeah, so as we're moving into autumn, you know, the autumnal albums start to come out, and you know, we kind of start to batten down the hatches, but hopefully we won't be doing that just yet, and we'll maybe hopefully get a little bit more mild weather. But anyway, guys, until next time, I'll see you all soon, and look after yourselves. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.